little loud. Is that loud enough? All right, guys. Welcome, welcome. As you're hopping on, just have a little music playing while people get here.
This music always puts me in such a good mood.
My slide won't go to the next one. All right, welcome to Hey You Human. We're happy to have you. We're just going to take a few minutes while you guys hop on and get situated. While we wait, feel free to share with us where you're joining us from. If you're new to Hey You Human or have joined us before, and the number one thing causing you the most stress right now, and one question you have when it comes to stress, you can just drop that in the chat box. Just tell us how you're feeling and what's going on. Feel free to dance a little bit.
I'm dancing over here.
Loosen up after a long day. Get ready to learn lots of cool things with us. And we'll get started here in a moment. All right. Are you ready to dive in? I am. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Stress Less, Live More event. We are so excited to have you. I am going to introduce myself briefly so that you're like, who is this lady that thinks she has any authority on stress? Well, my name is Sarah Longoria. I'm the founder of Hey You Human, which I'll talk about in a second. I am the creator of the Rapid Relief Technique. I have a degree in biomedical science with a minor in psychology. I have post-bac work in neurophysiology and epidemiology, so very nerdy, all sorts of fun science stuff. I've taught in college, all sorts of good things when it comes to that. But I also have many trainings and certification in energy medicine and alternative health modalities. So I have a plethora of understandings of our body, our brain, our energy, all sorts of stuff to really have this well-rounded approach to the human. I've spent the last decade combining science with energy and emotions, researching, testing, creating, doing all sorts of things to really crack the code when it comes to the things we struggle most with as humans. I'm passionate about teaching people the truth about their human and how to find true happiness. Not the type of happiness that you have when you buy the new car, because we all know that's fleeting, but true lasting happiness where we get to live. And that's why this event is titled Live More. So many of us just want to live. We just want to be excited by life. And real quick, I'll introduce Melissa, one of our beautiful Hey You Human team members, is on here with us as well.
Hello.
She will randomly interject things here or there. She's also my connect to the chat and things like that. So if you are dropping things in the chat, questions, aha moments that come up, if she finds something relevant, she'll often pop in and like wave me down. And I can answer anything that's coming up for you guys. So who is Hey You Human? Hey You Human is a mental health and human wellness company. So we really say that we are the future of mental health and human wellness. We're kind of revolutionizing the industry with the new stuff we talk about. We serve corporations and individuals in over 80 countries around the world. We have certified practitioners all over the world. We have quite the global footprint. We're the first human development company. So we've kind of taken a step back from coaching, from mentoring, from personal development, and really created this new industry called human development. And it's not so much about achieving goals in the outside world. It's more about how are you feeling inside? How are you feeling inside? Do you feel safe? Do you feel free? Do you feel loved? Do you feel deserving? All these things that come back to us. And it's not about anything. It's not about our mindset. It's not about what's happening in our external world. It's about something else. And we're going to talk about that a lot today. We offer monthly memberships and trainings to our individuals. We have certification and one-on-one support. So we have doctors, therapists that often love this work and they go further with us and take this into their private practices through our certification programs. We also have one-on-one support where you can work with our practitioners. We have business consultation and executive development for our corporations and other partnerships that we work with. And we also do live and in-person and virtual events. So this is one of our virtual events. We also do in-person events as well. I was just in California this past weekend doing one. So lots of fun. And we're a human first company, meaning we put our humans first. We put our people who work for our company first. We put our clients and our members first. We are always looking at how we can make it better for our people while still running a healthy company. It's not about the bottom line for us. It's about the people and how we can create the most impact. So, my commitment to you, beautiful humans, expand your understanding of what is actually behind your stress. Discuss the missing pieces to understanding this life and removing stress from yours. Have a ton of aha moments. We're going to have a lot of like, what? No kind of moments here. We're going to teach you our full rapid relief technique so that you can start feeling different this week. So I know you may do a lot of these events, right, where they talk and talk and talk and talk. They tell you how great they are. They introduce you. They tell you what you need. And then they're like, come join us and we'll actually show you what you need. We're not going to do that to you. We are going to offer something at the end. So stay till the end. We have a great bonus for you, but we are going to give you the entire rapid relief technique, the entire understanding that you need to start shifting the stress in your life like tonight. So we're excited for that. My request of you, there isn't much, don't worry. Ask questions and keep your mind curious. We're going to talk about a lot of things that are contrarian to what you've been taught and what you may believe stress and emotions and all of these things to be. So keep an open mind, but please ask questions. Cell phones, emails, and distractions off. I know it's life. So much is happening in life, but if you can give yourself this hour and a half, 2 hours to really focus on this, it will make a difference in your life. Use the chat box to connect and engage. And again, keep asking those questions. If something sounds off to you, if you're not quite getting it, ask us a question. We're an open book here, and we want to make sure you're understanding this. Breakdown of event, so you know where we're going. What is stress? The overview of everything and getting acquainted with the true cause of stress. Breaking down what's really going on in your body, why you have stress, and why life is not working out in your favor. Do you ever feel like that? Like those people you know that you're like, why does everything just like work out for them? And you're like, why does everything seem to like not work out for me? There's a reason. And we're going to talk about it. The rapid relief technique and getting the stress out for good, the full process explained. Then we're going to integrate this all into your life and applying it to parent, work, finances, and relationships. And then we're going to go through tricks, tips, and frequently asked questions and how we can support you on this journey. So I just want everybody to take a breath for a moment, preferably in through your nose and out through your nose. Just a couple deep breaths. I want you to take a moment to just connect to yourself for a second. Just really allowing everything that went on through the day to just kind of melt away for a moment so that you can be present with me, with yourself, with this information. Just letting that body relax, coming back into your body. And let's go. Here we go. Let's do this. Okay, so before we can talk about how to have less stress, let's talk about what we are told about stress. And all of this is probably going to sound pretty familiar. Now, this is like the Google definition. Like if you go, what is stress? In Google, this is what Google is going to pump out to you. Stress is any type of change that causes physical, emotion, psychological strain. It's your body's response to an event that requires attention or action. Now, that's partially true. And we're going to break that down in a little bit. But that's not fully what stress is. That's what a stressful situation is, or what stimuli is. But it's not stress. We're told everyone experiences stress. Everyone experiences stress. It's unavoidable. And it's actually good for us to some degree, right? Stress is what gets you off your butt and gets you moving. Maybe it does. But I think there's a better way for us humans to live where we don't have to throw ourselves into chaos and stress to actually get stuff done, that it actually is avoidable and everyone doesn't experience it. We hear that you can't eliminate stress. It's part of life. You can only shift how you respond to it. Now, again, that's kind of true, but again, not really, because you can actually eliminate stress to where events occur and there's not a stress response that happens. You don't feel it in your body at all, even though the event's occurring. Stress is caused from the external, from an outside event that causes a reaction in your body. I think that's probably the most believed one, right? Like how often do we think, if I just didn't have to do this, I wouldn't be stressed. If I could just get this off my plate, I wouldn't be stressed. If my people could just support me a little bit more, I wouldn't be stressed. If I had more money, I wouldn't be stressed. Now, the interesting thing about this is you could poll all sorts of different people with these things, without these things, with some of these things, with none of these things. And you know what? All of their stress would be all different, showing that there's not a direct correlation between this. So if stress is just a reaction to an outside event, like I just said, why do we all have such different reactions to things? Why can there be extremely stressful stimuli and some people are going crazy, popping off, going nuts, and other people are calm cucumbers? Is the stress happening inside of us really happening from that external event? Or better yet, guys, why do we often feel stress and anxiety when nothing is happening at all? Have you ever had this moment? This used to happen to me all the time. Somebody calls you. And you have a whole reaction in your body. Like you feel a stress response in your body.
Or like when you see somebody, you've laid eyes on another human and your body is like, your body responds.
Right? So nothing's happened. Nothing stressful has happened in your life, but you have a reaction. I used to have a really funny one where whenever my husband would call me by my name, he has like 1,001 nicknames for me, but whenever he would say Sarah, I would I would have this whole physical reaction thinking like I was in trouble. Now I'll talk in a little bit why that happened, but I want you all just to take a minute and think about that, because you know this is happening in your life where we're over here saying, oh, my stress would be better. Or better yet, have you even had moments in your life where you have changed those things, yet somehow that stress still shows back up? Yeah, because maybe it's a you problem, not an external thing. Now, I get you guys. I hate when people tell me it's a you problem. I'm so sick of this world telling us it's a you problem. Go deal with your stuff. Rant, 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 right? Melissa and I have this conversation all the time where we're like, oh, it's a me problem. So this can sound from first glance annoying. It's a me problem, but it's also very empowering because it means if your stress is a you problem, you can change it. You can change it. It's not reliant on your coworker. It's not reliant on your kids doing something. It's not reliant on your spouse doing something. It's not reliant on the world doing something. Because let's be serious right now. This world is a lot. It's a lot. But you can actually live in this world and watch it all happen. Yep, read the news, know what's going on, and actually not be stressed about it. I know. So what's my definition of stress? It's a little different. It is the unprocessed emotion and stimuli. So your unprocessed emotions and unprocessed stimuli that's caused from lived experiences and life memories. So you might be looking at this definition being like, what does that even mean? Go ahead and break it down for you, because this definition of stress is not the definition widely known throughout the world. It's my definition. After studying it for years and years and years and understanding our emotions and understanding how our body works when it comes to stressful stimuli, we're missing some pieces, and we're about to talk about them. Your stress has nothing to do with what's happening in your life or the world. It has everything to do with what's happening inside of you. It has everything to do with what's happening inside of you. And this can be seen in people who are in very stressful situations, who are in war zones, who are in all sorts of stuff, and they're able to be cool. Now, there's a lot of stress coping mechanisms that actually shove things down inside of you. Those result in PTSD. Hello, military professionals. How y'all doing out there? Not great. Because they've learned to just take that stimuli and stuff it real deep down inside. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the ability to be in very stressful situations, have a lot of things being thrown at you from the world, and feeling okay. And I get it. A lot of people say, oh yeah, well, must be nice for you and your nice house with your nice business and your nice people. Yeah, sure. Cool. Right. It's a you problem. Easy for you to say. What about that single mom over there who's working 4 jobs, who has the system built against her? How can you compare apple to apples? Well, this work we have been researching and working with for a long time, and it transcends races, socioeconomic classes, all sorts of stuff, genders, all of it, because this is really a human thing we're talking about. And so I get it if some of you are sitting here being like, this woman's nuts. I have 5 kids. I work 2 jobs. I can't keep money in my bank account. The world is rigged against me. And she's going to now tell me that it has nothing to do with all of that. I am. I'm also going to tell you that, yes, there are systems in place that suck. And this world is rigged against most of us. And that honestly, we will never be able to get out of that cycle or past it if we don't deal with the internal stuff causing us stress. We will stay in the hamster wheel. And I know you guys are here because you want off the darn hamster wheel. So yeah, what? Stress is about what's going on inside of me? Sure is. Okay, it's time to learn the truth. Truth bomb time. We make stress about an experience when really it's what's left behind from the experience that wasn't understood or processed. I know I'm throwing a lot of fun clinical jargon at you. We make stress about an experience when really it's what's left behind. There's a stressful event, but that's a stressful event. That is stimuli. Stimuli is going to happen. Stress is not the event. Stress is what's left behind. Stimuli, you guys, isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, unless y'all are going to go move to Thailand and live in a Montessori with the monks. And you know what? You'll probably have stimuli from there just being bored out of your mind. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? If you are going to interact and live in this world, you are going to come up against stimuli, people that cause things, situations that cause things, but that is not stress. Stress is actually what's left behind from experiences that wasn't understood or processed, because, my friends, humans learn and evolve through emotions. Now, our kids are the best example of this. Our kids are beautiful little people that are here to integrate and understand their emotions. This is all this stuff I'm going to talk about today. The bulk of this is supposed to be done in childhood. Supposed to be done in childhood. If we did a lot of this in childhood and understood and integrated our emotions, integrated our brains with our body, integrated our energy and our nervous system with the rest of it, we would be kind of these whole, beautiful humans that understood how to process stimuli as it came into us and bring our bodies back to balance. Our bodies are smart. And I'm going to talk about this in a second. We learn through our emotions. We see the world through our emotions, but we're not feeling our emotions. So we're not evolving, and we're staying in these loops. When you have an emotion, let's say I'm talking to Melissa and she says something and I'm like, what, girl? No. And I have this reaction in my body. My body has literally a physiological, neurological reaction. There's all sorts of stuff. My emotion triggers an incredible release of neuropeptides that cause all sorts of things to happen. And you know what we do? We stop it in the middle. And so we never have the full loop. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. And so what happens when you aren't able to emote? It stays in there. It stays in there. So let me give you a real basic example. Let's say you were a little kid and you wanted a chip. And you go into the thing, you get your chip out. And then your mom comes up behind you, grabs your hand, grabs that chip out of your hand. And you're like, what? And you're a little one, 2, 3, I don't know. So you start crying because that chip meant everything to you. That chip was life right then and there. And it was just stolen from you. Now, if you had the chance to process this all out, you would evolve and learn, I don't like when people take things away from me. You may even at that young age be able to express that to your mom after you remove all the emotions, say, I don't like when you take things away from me. And have a civil conversation. But instead, you were most likely, or this child was most likely stopped in the middle of their expression. They weren't able to emote. And so the experience is never fully understood because, again, humans learn and evolve through our emotions. Ever wonder why the world looks so stuck right now? Ever wonder why you feel like people just can't freaking figure things out and get past their BS? You ever feel that? You ever feel that about yourself? You just can't get past your own BS? It's because you're not feeling stuff. You're trying to mindset your way out of it. You're trying to affirm your way out of it. You're trying to talk therapy your way out of it when the missing component is actually feeling. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit because a lot of us aren't even actually feeling when we think we are. And so we haven't been fully able to understand this experience. And that kid wasn't either. So now, instead of understanding, hey, I don't like when people take things from me. Now he has a lovely little stuck thing that we like to call in our world as like wounding or something like that. Right now he has this little wound in there where now he feels like, people are mean and they take things from me. And now he's mad about it. And he kind of just carries that rock around in his backpack. He carries it around till he's 6, till he's 7, till he's 10, till he's 20, till he's 40, till he's 50. And he wonders why he always feels like, people take things from me. And I take things from people before they take things from me. And we wonder why we have this world of people who are mean and grouchy and people who are so triggered by everything and crying all the time. We have our work to do with our emotions, humans. So your thoughts are not running the show, friends. Your emotions are. We literally see the world. We literally, that is what runs us. And guys, this can be easily seen in how your life operates. Have you ever had the best intentions with your thoughts? I'm going to get up, I'm going to work out. I'm not going to freak out about this thing. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. Not going to eat those donuts. Not going to do this. And somehow it's like a little monster inside just overrides. And you're like, am I in control of my life? Or is that monster living inside of me controlling my life? The monster inside is actually not scary. It's just your unprocessed emotions and unprocessed stimuli running the show. Our mind projects through our memories, our experiences and our left behind emotions. You make memories, you have experiences, and that's how you see the world. But you also see the world through those left behind emotions. Those things that were never processed out, that were never learned from. And you wonder why we move through life feeling like it's not safe. Nobody helps us out. I don't matter. People don't care about me. Nobody listens to me. That was a big one Melissa had. Nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to me. We wonder why we have these core beliefs, and no matter what we do, they keep running the show. Well, it's because they are running the show. Our mind sees through these things. So let's talk about a little experiment, because I kind of want to show you how malleable, how easily programmable our brain is. And keep in mind, I'm literally just talking about the brain here. I'm not talking about the nervous system, the DNA, the deeper layers that actually are a lot involved with your emotions. But I want you to just see how quickly and impressionable we are just from this one area. So when I was in college, I was a psychology minor, and we used to do these like psychology tests, like little experiments, and we get paid for them. So they were great. You know, you're a college kid, like always trying to figure out how to make like 30 or 40 bucks. And so I entered one, and you go into this room and they make you, basically they brainwash you on the color yellow. Like you're in there and you're just shown all this beautiful stuff about yellow. You're made to feel about yellow. Yellow makes you feel special and happy. Yellow means money. Yellow means good. Yellow, we love yellow. Yellow gets you everything you want, right? It's really into your emotions, into your brain, all of it. Yellow, 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 yellow. We love yellow. And then you're taken into this room, you're given a piece of paper, and you're told for everything you find in this room that's yellow, we'll give you, I don't even remember what it was, $5. Who knows? So you start writing down all the yellow things in the room. You're going, you have like a certain time limit. Time's up, you leave the room. The lady takes your little thing and she says to you, here's another piece of paper. Will you write down all the things that were red? Red? Whoa, hold on. You told me yellow. Yeah, well, now I'm asking you for red. And you're like, oh, okay, red. I can do this. There was a lamp. I think there was a book. I don't know, maybe. You barely come up with any red things. And then they so graciously walk you back into the room where you see that the whole freaking room was basically red. Walls were red. Couch that you sat on was red. Floor was red. You were in a red room with some yellow things, all of which you wrote down. You barely noticed the red because you had tunnel vision on the yellow. This is what happens to us in life. This is when you have those conversations with people and they're like, why can't you see this? Because you have tunnel vision on what you can see through your experiences, emotions, and things that are stuck inside of you. So let's take this a bit further and apply it to real life, because right, it's always fun to talk about concepts, but like, what do concepts matter if you can't like actually take them off the PowerPoint and into the real world? So it's actually all about you and not about you all at once. And that might sound kind of confusing for you. You're like, okay, it's all about me and not about me all at once. And because we tend to see our world through our memories, our experiences, and our past emotions, we tend to see a skewed view of reality. And we make it all about us when it's usually not about us. So let me give you an example with a spouse. Whether or not you're married, whether or not you have a spouse, doesn't really matter here. This is going to relate. You're going to have a parent that maybe did this to you. You're going to be able to have a situation, I shouldn't say did this to you, but a situation where this happened between two people. So let's say you work all day, you do a whole bunch of stuff, you get home, let's say maybe you have kids, you got the kids running around, you're cooking, you have all this stuff happening, and your spouse walks in and is all, wow, the house is a mess. And you're like, oh, is it? Is the house a mess? Oh, really? Tell me more. And you're all of a sudden like in this poor human's face about, really, you're just going to walk through the door and not even say hi to me and just point out that the house is a mess. And this human's like, well, whoa, what just happened here? All I said was the house was a mess. And you're like, yeah, exactly. What are you, so I'm not good enough? I can never get everything done for you, can I? And some of you who don't have spouses may remember these conversations when you were growing up with parents. Having parents be like, hey, can you do this? And you're like, what? You never think I'm good enough. All these things start coming up. So you start telling this person, oh, so you just don't think I'm good enough. I can't keep a clean enough house for you, can I? Doesn't matter all the things I'm doing. And this other person is like, what is your problem? I have had a long freaking day. I just walked through the door and you are attacking me. No, you attacked me. No, I didn't. I just said the house was messy. Exactly. So you're in this thing now and nobody can see it. Now you're all upset. You're like, you never understand me. You never see me. You never get what I'm saying. And this person's like, why do you always make a mountain out of a molehill? Good Lord, every time. And it's this whole thing. If you were like me in this situation, my friendly spouse would always be like, I'm done with this. I don't want to talk about this. And I'd be like, you never hear me. And I'd run off and complete the pattern that I had done over and over again. You split for a while. Maybe you cry. Maybe they cry. You feel a little bit better. You apologize. And then you do it again next week.
Or some of the calm down. It's not a big deal.
Big deal.
Oh my God, you're overreacting.
Overreacting.
And then you shut down, you give them the silent treatment. You don't talk to them.
Fine. Oh, I'm overreacting. Fine.
Sorry.
Fine. Overreacting. All right, fine. I won't overreact anymore. Forget you.
Like, do you ever look back on some of your big moments like this and wonder who the hell was that person? Mm-hmm. Or you look back and you're still fuming. Well, they shouldn't have said it.
Yeah. You have kids sometimes where all of a sudden I used to call monster mommy moments. And then you look back and you're like, who was that person? So what's actually happening here? This is a clear case of it's all about you and not about you. So this person walked into the house and made a comment. Wow, the house is messy. It actually was not about you at all. Literally not about you at all. And I guarantee you may be starting to think in your head, uh-oh, I feel like there are times when other people have said things to me and I made it all about me. Are you mad at me? I'm not mad at you. Yeah, you are mad at me. I can tell. No, I'm really not mad at you. All right, fine. You're over here thinking they're mad at you. This person's like, this person's crazy. And you're like, they just don't get it, right? We see these things through two different lenses because this person who walked into the house just saw a damn messy house and was like, damn, house is messy. But you saw the comment through your unprocessed emotions. Maybe you got a big old wound in there around, I'm never good enough. I'll never be enough. If you're a woman, FYI, it's likely you do. I can never get it right. Nobody sees me. Nobody supports me. These are like the core things us humans walk around with in life. Nobody loves me. And so you see it through this. And so you're literally seeing it through this filter of, I'm not good enough. I am never going to be good enough for you. Just give up now. Nobody sees me. Nobody understands me. You've made it all about you when again, it was actually never about you. And now this person can't understand why you're all up in arms because they just said the house was messy. Because FYI, the house actually was messy. It was a valid observation. But you saw it through something different. You will always see the world through your stuck emotions because that's the only way to change a core experience and pattern. So you see something different and respond and feel different. So this example couple, we could throw them into therapy for 5 years and they could learn how to communicate better. When she says this, he actually wants you to feel, she wants to feel seen and heard. So instead of doing this, say, I see you, honey. Oh, he sees me. Okay. And when he comes home and says this, you just say that, like, right? We do this whole semantics of how to have boundaries and how to communicate and talk. Not that any of these things are bad. They are useful skills. The problem is we're not getting to the deeper layer. So you might be using these things, but deep down inside, you're still resenting the hell out of that person. You're still annoyed. I was just on a call with a client today and she says, I'm trying to be a better mother for my kids. I rub their backs every night while they go to sleep. And I say, I love you. You're safe, over and over again. And she said, and you know what? The whole time I sit there and I resent the hell out of it. I just want him to go to sleep. I just want my time. So it's like she's in the motions, but it doesn't matter if she's in the motions because the energy behind it, the truth behind it is she doesn't want to be there. And we feel that as people. You know that. You know situations that you've been in with people where they're giving you lip service and you can feel their intention. That's their stuck emotions. That's what's behind their perfect, pretty words.
I've been trying to wait for a break to jump in because I wanted to go back to when you were talking about like you restructure how you communicate. You get these tactics, these techniques, and you're like, okay, we're going to try this. We're going to try when, if I feel statements, we're going to, go to our adult timeouts and not have charged conversations and then come back and say, this made me feel like this. And then your partner responds, or you're like, I'm never telling my toddler no, or, I'm doing peaceful parenting or gentle parenting because I want to enable my children. But deep down, we're just fuming inside. I know for myself and for so many people, we have the bestest of intentions when we start out, but it ends up being another bleeping thing that you're doing wrong.
And having to remember how to do and all of that.
And you're exhausted. You are exhausted and you're tired and you want to know why life feels so dang hard is because you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. You're trying to be different and not feel differently. And the action of feeling, which I know Sarah's going to talk about soon, is not what we think it is.
So processing the stress / emotions, because we're beginning to see that our stress is actually those emotions, is actually the only way for us to start changing the situations in our life. And it literally works like magic, you guys. Like I used to tell people used to ask me, what do you do for a living? I'd be like, I teach people how to do magic. And they'd be like, oh, so you're a witch? And I'd be like, no. I teach people how to deal with their deep underlying emotions behind things. So things actually change in your life. No longer do you have to have the discipline. No longer do you have to wake up at freaking 4 a.m. to get the workouts. No longer is it a struggle to be you and be happy. Now it just happens because we've dealt with this deeper layer. It's not about the mindset. It's not about the talking. That's the logical, rational part. We got to get deeper to the feeling part. We love to believe it's not me, it's you. It's not me, it's you. I see this sometimes with my husband where he'll be getting frustrated with the kids and he'll be like, well, I wouldn't be mad if they wouldn't do that. No, not true, friend. Not true. If you didn't have unprocessed emotions in your body, if you weren't stimulated right now and not processing that extra stimulation out, you actually wouldn't. You'd actually be able to take this life fully, because we don't understand that when we're overstimulated, we need to balance back out. When we have too much, it's often showing what's inside that needs to come out. We've never been taught what to do with this excess stimuli. The world used to be way simpler, guys. Talking it out used to work. Used to live on farms. Used to just have to like grow your food and move things. Like it wasn't this. We are bombarded with electronics. We're bombarded with social media. We are bombarded with world events. It is so fast paced. We are so overstimulated, and our bodies know how to come back to balance. Our bodies are smart. So let's back up for a second. Your body is smart, my friends. Your stress and all the feelings and emotions that you have is actually a very natural reaction to a very unnatural environment. So we as humans have evolved very quickly in our external worlds. I don't know if you noticed, but barely 100 years ago, we weren't doing a lot of things that we're doing now. Right? We've really accelerated very quickly in the external, but we have not learned the human skills to deal with the excess stimuli and stressful situations that we are now consistently presented with. Things like talk therapy, things like breathing, deep breaths, all those coping mechanisms, they were developed hundreds of years ago when the world was very different. And they worked then, but they ain't working anymore. So let's talk about what's actually happening with your body. Your body's smart. Your body gets stimulated by all sorts of stuff, like that little kid with his chip got taken away. He was stimulated. His body knew what to do. His body knew he needed to cry. He needed to throw his arms around. Body knew exactly what to do. Your body knows what to do even in very traumatic, stressful situations. Shock, ever heard of that? Your body knows what to do. It shakes. It hyperventilates. It sobs. It knows what to do in grief situations. It knows what to do in all sorts of situations. But guess what? We don't let our bodies do what they need to do. We've learned all these lovely coping mechanisms about stopping them. Breathing, counting backwards, thinking of a better feeling thought, remaining calm. Not today, Satan. Don't take me down. I'm going to stay happy. Right? Listening to music, meditating, acknowledging my anger. I am angry. Releasing this anger from my body. That's not what your body needs. So we often forget that we're animals. There's a great video with a polar bear. You can actually look it up on YouTube, where this helicopter's chasing this polar bear because they want to tranquilize it. And they chase this polar bear down. They tranquilize him. He goes down. They do whatever they need to do, the research, whatever it is, and then they leave him. And as he starts to wake up, the polar bear has this crazy reaction. His whole body shakes. He starts to run in his sleep, like he's not fully awake yet. He roars. He does all of these things. And then he like hops up and shakes off and like boom, 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 like walks off. And there's a lot of videos and studies that have been done on animals like this. There's an antelope that falls over when it gets spotted by prey and looks dead. Looks dead. It just boom, falls over. And once that prey goes, it does all sorts of crazy stuff. It shakes. It does all this stuff. It's literally bringing itself back to balance. Your body knows how to come back to balance. Stimulation happens. Stressful situation happens. Your body wants to do something, whether it be cry, whether it be yell, whether it be scream, whether it be shake, whatever it might be, to finish that process we talked about, remember? so that you can learn, evolve, and grow, so that you can fully get it out of your body, and so that you can come back to balance. But we don't do that. And all these things stay stuck in our body. And we wonder why we have chemical imbalances in our brain, and we have hormonal balances over here, and we have imbalances in our blood, and our back is like this, and everything just feels a little unbalanced. And then we wonder why our whole freaking life outside just feels absolutely unbalanced, because well, we're unbalanced and we're the ones running the show here. All because we just didn't feel the emotions when our body needed it to. Now, stressful situation versus stress. This is the biggest thing we have to understand, guys. Stressful situations, the stimuli of our world isn't going away anytime soon. We got a while till we work on that and start changing that thing up. But the stress is what's left behind because you didn't deal with the stimuli coming at you. Have you ever had one of those moments in life where like everything actually seems fine? Like you seem actually pretty good. And then it's like a couple things happen in a short period of time. And all of a sudden you went from happy-go-lucky human to 10 minutes later, you're like yelling at someone and you're and all of this. Yeah. Too much, too soon. Too much, too fast. Body needed to do what it needed to do. With kids, if you have kids, ever have that where you feel okay? You know, you go through your whole day holding it together, holding it together, holding it together, just to get home and just freak out on the first person that says something to you. Your pressure cooker couldn't take anymore. You blew. Couldn't take anymore. It doesn't have to be that way. The thing we're most concerned about too is that what we often watch our world do is vomit emotions on each other. And that was never what we were supposed to do either. But we'll get to that. And also keep in mind, big stimuli versus little stimuli. We often think that the things that we only have the right to be upset about are things like, my mom died. Oh my God, this man has wronged me. Instead of little things like, I just spilled my water and for some reason feel like I need to cry. That's okay. And honestly, if you pay attention to the little things, the bigger things, this is where you start to not have stress at all. Because those little things are here to teach you. They're coming in to show you some of those unprocessed emotions that need to come out of your body. Because just FYI, that little kid who had the chip taken away from him, he's not the only one that has unprocessed emotions from childhood living in him. And often when you spill that glass of water and you want to cry, or you watch that show and all of a sudden you're like, why am I crying about this? It's because there's often unprocessed stuff inside of you that's bringing up for you to finally process. It's like your body's tapping you on the shoulder, being like, excuse me, you know how you'd like to feel better? Excuse me, you know how you'd like to have more energy? Excuse me, could you please process this out? We'll feel a whole lot better. Okay, Melissa, I feel like you have something to say.
Well, I of course I do, but it's almost, I often equate our body and like those kind of flare-ups in our body, kind of like the warning signals on the dashboard of a car.
Yep.
You know, like if there's like a check engine light on your dashboard, most of us are going to be like, ooh, babe, can you go look at this? Or I need to take this to the auto body shop, or get a friend, like sifting through the user manual. Like we're like, oh, there's a problem. If we don't look at it and our car dies on the side of the road, we're not like, what the hell just happened? We're like, oh, it was making this really weird sound for like 3 months.
Yep.
Right? We pay attention to the warning signs. Our body does the same thing for our human. And it is now kind of marketed as stress, anxiety, overwhelm. But what it's saying is, hey, human, your engine is overheating.
Yeah,
you got to take that thing into the shop, do some rewiring, clean out the pipes, get a flush. I know nothing about cars, you guys. So all of my analogies require some like knowledge and understanding of which I do not have, but you get the analogy where if we just ignore the warning signs, how can we be mad that our bodies are shutting down? And if you look at our world, we have no shortage of examples of humans that are shutting down. And we see it more now in our kids than we've ever seen it before. Because they're coming into it's like being born in a junkyard. Like
it is. I mean, if you're not paying attention to this for yourself, pay attention to it for your kids. Because we have an epidemic right now in our world of stress, and it does not have to be this way. It's just that nothing we are doing works any longer. This is the stuff we need to understand. So feeling is healing, or as I like to say, evolving. We often have this whole connotation that we're like broken humans that need to be healed. And that makes us just sound lame, like we're broken. You're not broken. You're fine. Could you evolve? Sure. Why not? And healing also makes it sound like you have like a cut on your hand and we're going to make it go away. That's not what we're doing here. This is about evolving as humans. Of course, you have stuff that needs to heal. You have, like I said, the kid with the chip. You have stuff from your past. Your parents, they knew what they knew, but they, of course, caused some things. So did teachers. So did the world. So did kids on the playground. So did ex-lovers and all sorts of stuff in your past. So we do have stuff that we need to heal. But this is how we evolve. We evolve through our emotions. And those were actually moments, evolving and growth moments for you that just didn't happen. And so actually you're just going back to evolve in all those areas that you never got to back then. So let's talk feelings versus emotions, because people often say to me like, well, I am feeling my feelings. And I'll say, well, what does that look like? And they'll say, well, I was really mad at my mom. So I played it all out in my head, how mad I was. I felt it in my body. I could feel the rage in my body. Okay. Did you say out loud any of the things you wanted to say to her? Again, not to her, but did you say out a lot? Well, no. Did you move your body in any ways that wanted to be moved? Well, no. Did you yell? No. Did you cry? No. Okay. Not sure that was feeling the emotions.
Or even more, did you you just go speak your truth, dump your vomit all over your mom, bitch about it with a girlfriend for like 7 days straight, and then go can you believe she said this again?
And this brings us to unproductive processing versus productive processing. We do a lot of unproductive processing in our world. Like Melissa said, sitting there with your girlfriend being like, oh my God, why does she keep doing this? Sitting there with a coworker, can you believe this? Blah, 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 blah. And being like, look, I am processing out my emotions. I talk to someone. Sitting with a therapist and just talking about it and talking about it. Sitting with a therapist and logicking it away. Oh, I get it. My mom, she only knew what she knew back then. Like, I get that she wasn't trying to hurt me, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there's a 5-year-old kid that's pissed, that never got the love they needed, that never got the attention they needed. And they need to cry and flail and do all the things that little kid needed to do that you never got to do. And until you do that, you can talk your way through therapy, but it's always going to keep creeping back up in your head. And that's the biggest misconception too, when it comes to these things. People often say, oh, you never get over these things. These things show up. We just have to learn to cope with them. No, you learn to completely evolve past them, you guys. The biggest crap and stress in your life, you can literally learn to evolve completely past, to where you'll all of a sudden, a year later, be like, holy crap, I haven't thought about that in forever. That's what this work does as we get into it. It's very, very cool, but it requires you to really emote, express. And this can be scary for a lot of us because we have a lot of judgments around feelings and emotions. We've basically been programmed to believe we need to feel good. We need to be happy. We need to help others feel good and happy. Don't do things to rock the boat. We have to be high vibe, all of these things. And when we do that, we're placing a bunch of judgments on our feelings. FYI, you guys, just so you know, you are a human and you have all the emotions. People say to me, I'm not an angry person. Yeah, no crap. There are no angry people. There is just an emotion called anger. And we all have it. We are a 360-degree human. We have all the emotions, every single one of us. Sure, there are those of us that have a different type of energy or different type of physiological makeup. And so maybe we have, a little more of one, a little less of the other. Sure. Is there a lot of societal conditioning that makes some of us have more acceptable here and acceptable there based on our culture, based on our gender, based on all sorts of things? But what our research has shown, hands down, as we have worked with people, is that all people have all the emotions. All of them. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I'm not an angry person. You're not an angry person, but you got anger in you. And if you haven't felt anger in a long time, I bet you're feeling some stress. I bet you have some body issues. I bet you have a little resentment going on with some people in your life. Maybe allergies. That's a good one for our people that have anger that they're not feeling. But we have a whole bunch of judgments and a whole bunch of conditioning around why it's not okay to feel our feelings. And often then when we do feel our feelings, we do them in a really unproductive way. We go unload on our kids. We go unload on somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, that wasn't good. That's not the way. There's a different way. So what stuck emotions do? They cause that stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Stress is a little more surface level. Stress is more like the things we are aware of that are our stuck emotions. Stress is kind of like, that guy at the grocery store almost made you cry. You're really mad at your husband. Anxiety is that much deeper layer where you don't even know what it's about. It has been stuffed down in there. It's often from childhood. It is stuffed down in there and you don't even know what it's about. And then overwhelm is just, you got too much of it. You got too much of it. A body can only take so much. It also causes your body issue, pain, disease, imbalances. You want to know why pharmaceuticals have so many side effects? Because all they're doing is moving energy. They're just moving your neuropeptides boop, boop, over to a different area. Your neuropeptides are what's really behind all of this. And I'm not going to get super into the science on this. In our membership courses and stuff, we talk more about all of the science behind this, but I'm not going to get all into that today. But the neuropeptides really run the show of just about everything. And a pharmaceutical targets that certain area, so it stops this problem. But you know what? That emotion never got out. So it just boop, 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 moves on over to another area of your body. And not to say pharmaceuticals are bad or Western medicine's bad in any way, but if you combined it with the actual emotional processing of things, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing because it often brings up what's underneath there and allows you to start processing it out. It causes your unwanted reactions into responses. You're like a pot ready to boil over. And when you do, you really don't want that. You don't want to be that crazy person on the highway that's like, Ree. You want to be that person that all of a sudden explodes on your kids. You don't want to be that person that's like crying in the bathroom after a meeting and you don't even know why. It also causes your continual patterns and behaviors that aren't working anymore. Ever feel like you're just stuck in a loop? I want this to change in my life, but no matter what you do, you always end up back in the loop. Ever hear the word self-sabotage? Ever heard the word procrastination? Ever heard all these fun words that end up causing us all these cycles we live in life? Those are your stuck emotions because you're literally seeing the world through that. You're seeing the world of, I'm never going to be able to lose weight. That might be a core belief just sitting in there. And so your brain might be saying, this is our year. We're going to lose the weight. We're going to do it. I'm going to stop eating this. You might get on that treadmill, start working it, but you know what? That weight's not coming off and you don't know why. Well, I'll tell you why. Because you were bullied as a little kid and down there deep inside, you have a core belief that you're ugly. You'll never lose the weight. And that's just who you're going to be. And so those two things are in drastic conflict. And you're not going to show up for yourself. You're not going to stay consistent with yourself. You're not going to do the things that you need to do to get the results you want. Because deep down inside, you already believe and think you're not getting them. This is the deeper layer. You can do all the mindset work. You can fight yourself till Timbuktu. but it's never going to work until you deal with this deeper layer. Stuck emotions also cause those expectations, societal, family, personal, all these expectations we put out on the world are caused by our stuck emotions. For example, you might have people in your life where you say, you need to treat me like this. Because maybe you have a core wound around nobody listens to me. So now you have all these expectations around the people in your life. You need to treat me like this. You need to do this. You need to do that. And you know what? Those people are going to disappoint you over and over and over and over again. Because we can't control people. We can't decide how they act around us. We can only decide how we choose to react. And so when we have all these stuck emotions, we start trying to make our life work for us based on what's going on inside of here. And it does not work. We just end up with people letting us down. We just end up disappointed with people. You need to do this. This is kind of what I was talking about, the therapy thing, right? And the biggest thing that our unprocessed emotions do is they keep us from being ourselves. If you have all these stuck emotions and you believe all these things about yourself that aren't true, you don't get to be you. Furthermore, if you are taking down programming from your ancestors around having to show up in certain ways, having to be a certain way, that's inside of you. And you know what? Other people who are breaking out of those molds, they might trigger you and bother you because you're supposed to evolve past this old programming you've been handed down. But you're not doing it. And you're wondering why things aren't shifting for you. And you're wondering why you feel disconnected. And you're wondering why you feel restless. And you're wondering why you feel dissatisfied. And you're wondering why you're just kind of meh about life. Like, it's not that it's terrible. But man, it's because you're not you, friends. You don't know who you are. I remember a friend once saying, it's like you have a bunch of these sweaters on, right? You grow up and you want something and you want to wear your hair this way and you want to wear an outfit this way. And your parents are like, no, you can't wear that. No, people don't do that. No, stop doing that. Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All these things. And boop, sweater after sweater after sweater just keeps being put on you. And now you're just this big roly-poly ball of sweaters. And you're like, this doesn't feel good. I don't feel good. I want these itchy sweaters off of me. What happened? And you don't even know how to get back to you because you've had so many things put on you that didn't feel good and you ignored them. You ignored them. You may have been that little kid that wanted to dress all crazy and your parents said, you can't wear that. And you wanted to yell at them and cry and say, that's not okay. But they stopped that real quick. And if you had known as a little kid, you didn't need to say it to them. You just needed to go into your room and say it and get it all out of your body. We'd have a different world. We'd have a complete and totally different world. So maybe emotions are actually the answer to all of my problems. They are. They are. But processing them is the key. So what are we told about emotions? Emotions are scary. We'll get stuck in our emotions. Emotions will overtake us and are a sign of emotional instability, right? Oh, look at that person. They're crying. I remember one time, you guys, maybe like a year ago, I had this whole thing happen with my daughter and I was at Walmart and I literally just started to sob at Walmart. I'm just walking through the store. I had to get all this stuff. It was almost her birthday. I'm sobbing in Walmart and people are looking at me like horrified. Like they're horrified. Some won't even make eye contact with me. And other people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh yes, I'm fine. I'm just a human having emotions. Carry on with your day. And I'm just like doing my thing. We get so scared that that means there's something wrong with you. You're unstable. No, I'm a human that has had a little too much stimuli and I need to balance my body back out. And yeah, I'm going to do it at Walmart because I got to go to a little kid's birthday party after this and I want to feel good.
And like, of all places, I feel like Walmart, like anything goes. But if you're somebody who listened to that and you're like, oh my God, I could never. And if you have judgment, or if your body was like, ugh, if you had, I call them visceral responses. I personally, I'm not obviously the one running this webinar. I personally don't even like using the term emotions, because so far we don't know our emotions, but we do know our body going, ugh, or eye roll, or judgment, or, we can hear the, like, I would never do this type of attitude. That is an emotion, believe it or not. Or there's an emotion behind that visceral response. And so if you heard that right now and you were like, oh my God, like I would be so embarrassed. That's fine. We're not suggesting you need to go to Walmart or be pumping gas, bawling your eyes out.
No. And that was
But
like
what we're asking is to shift the stigma around what emotions mean about you.
Yes. Because that meant nothing about me. It meant I was a human being having an emotion. And we make it mean so many things. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Oh my God, something must be wrong. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And for the most part, guys, that doesn't happen to me. Because what's interesting about this is when you do the work, all of a sudden you have super control over your emotions. You all of a sudden are able to be like, whoa, there's a big reaction here. Let me go process that out real quick and then see the situation for what it really is. All of a sudden, you aren't reactive anymore. You have such a high emotional intelligence. It's insane, because our current teaching of emotional intelligence is not real emotional intelligence. It's called running from your emotions and keeping them in a box, not actually understanding them, integrating them, and knowing them. We also believe certain emotions aren't appropriate to have. Certain emotions are bad and hurt other people. And that is true. We can hurt people a lot with our emotions. And this is something for humans to start understanding. Your emotions are actually a very personal experience. They're actually not for others unless we are collectively moving through emotions together. Someone dies, we're moving through emotions together. Sometimes in our work, we do breath work or things like that. We're collectively moving through emotions together. Maybe in a spousal relationship or a friendship, you set aside time where there's a bunch of emotions that need to come to light and people are aware that that's what you're going to be doing. But otherwise, all the emotion that you have come up should be noticed and dealt with elsewhere, not with the person. All of this is an outdated understanding of emotions. None of these are true, and it's time to evolve our understanding of emotions. As we emote, everything changes. I talked briefly a little bit about our friend, the neuropeptide. Our friend, the neuropeptide, is like the chain reaction of everything in our bodies. And really, it starts a lot with our nervous system. Your nervous system kind of runs the show, right? Your nervous system is what communicates between your brain and the rest of your body to do the things. It's very, very important. And it's run by these beautiful neuropeptides that send out signals between everything, between the brain and the nervous system, between the nervous system and your muscles, nervous system and hormones, nervous system and enzymes, all of these things. And your neuropeptides are outrageously affected by your emotions. This is proven. This isn't stuff I'm making up. This is science has tested, done all the things on this. And so again, you have an emotion and it affects those neuropeptides. Now, what's often happening is you're having this emotion because your nervous system is being stimulated. Your nervous system is already stimulated by something from childhood, from something like that. Because again, you're co-regulated. You regulate to your parents' nervous system. Do you ever like look back and you're like, God bless America, why am I turning into my dad? Why am I turning into my mom? You co-regulated their nervous system. This is why some of these patterns that we have, guys, are so hard to break, because you're breaking co-regulation that you had with your parents, where these little neuropeptides are very trained with these stuck emotions. These emotions have been sitting here for generations, training these neuropeptides. And when you have an emotional reaction, the neuropeptides are like, yippee yahoo, let's get this stuff out. And so it causes emotional reaction, but then you often stifle it or don't let it go to the completion or don't get to the core. And that's probably the biggest thing, is that often the thing that's happening in your life is happening because there's something much deeper that you actually need to clear. And I'll give some examples of this in a bit. This work actually changes you on a DNA level. Changes you on a DNA level. And I'll give you an example of this. When and we have several of these as we've started to really start looking at this. But for me personally, I did a genetics test a while ago, and it tested all the different things my body does. And the genes I have only allow for me, my genetics literally say I only produce the crap estrogen, the estrogen that causes breast cancer, ovarian cancer, like the estrogen you don't want. That's the estrogen I produce. Makes sense why my mom had a hysterectomy, several great aunts died of ovarian cancer, my grandma died of ovarian cancer, breast cancer runs rampant, why I had endometriosis years ago, right? I'm just pumping out the bad estrogen, right? We think DNA and genetics is just like how it is. It's not, it's run by our emotions. It's handed down. You can literally change these things and your DNA through your emotions. So my friends, did a lot of work around healing my endometriosis through the emotional release. You know, endometriosis, a lot of times you got to look at what part of your body is. That's my woman part. What am I feeling about being a woman? All sorts of stuff, going deep into this and really understanding it and releasing it and expressing it. So sure enough, my genetics say I can only produce the bad estrogen. But about 2 years ago, I had all of my hormone panels run. I no longer have endometriosis. It's gone. I have no problems at all with my woman stuff. Sure enough, my hormone test only shows I'm producing the good estrogen. So somewhere in there, my epigenetics is fluid. And I bet you if we start going years later, my DNA is eventually going to start to change, because right in there, the expression of my DNA is already changing. My neuropeptides are already responding different to my DNA. And so if you have high level of stress, guys, because sometimes this is part of what's been handed down to your nervous system. You know why some of us react and some of us don't react? Some of that is just because mom and granny reacted and that's what you learned. And so you're over here being like, God bless America. Why can't I get my stress levels down? Well, grandma, dad, grandpa, granny, great granny, they all handed you this nervous system that was filled with stress. And so you're trying to do all these things, be in calm environments, do all this stuff. And you're like, what the hell? Why do I always feel this? Well, we got to go do the deeper level work of expressing these emotions so that we can actually change those neuropeptides, that nervous system, and that DNA. We have set points. We call them DNA set points in our world, where you're basically born saying you get to be this happy, you get to have this much stress, you get to make this much money, you get to do all these things. But they're changeable. But they're not changeable through mindset. They're not changeable through talk therapy. It's why you see very few people ever pop out of their cycles, right? You can see this very broadly with money. Rich often get richer, poor stay poor. Very few pop out. Very few pop out. It's because there's a much deeper layer here that we have not been addressing. Life does not need to be this hard. And we are intentionally kept from our emotions because it keeps us from our power. It keeps us from ourselves, you guys. And when you're kept from yourself, you will pay all the money. You will do all the things to try and find yourself. You will pay for all the beauty products. You will pay for all the workout products. You will pay for all the education. You will pay for everything out the wazoo trying to find yourself. You will continue to feel disconnected and unsatisfied, and you will not believe in your power and your capability to create a life you love. And you know what? marketers and capitalistic, lovely people know this. They know this. They know this. We could solve the world's issues like that if this work became mainstream. But that gives the people the power. So it's time, guys. It's time to feel, it's time to heal, and it's time to rise. Like, look at this world. Like, I'm over it. I have a feeling you're over it too. Like, we can do better, but we need to start addressing these things. How do we address these things? Well, my friends, with the rapid relief technique, which just got approved for trademark today. So I got really excited, had to share. Whoop, 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 whoop. I don't know if you ever trademarked anything. It's a lengthy process. So yay, we're happy. Anyhow, our emotions are not scary. They just need to be processed. But I also realized that we've gone through life not knowing how to process our emotions. And so we've developed an amazing process that helps you get these emotions out fast and easy so that you feel better, so that you can start reprogramming your nervous system, so you can start living more and having the life that you want. So what is it? It is a simple tapping technique. If you're familiar with tapping, please know now it is not EFT, it is not TFT. If you've used tapping before, you're going to like it even better. If you've used tapping before and you didn't like it, you're going to like this one. And if you've never used it, just stay tuned because like I said in the beginning, I am literally going to walk you through the entire thing. You will leave here knowing how to do this, knowing what it looks like. How was it discovered? It was discovered by me during a very stimulated moment with my kids where I was about to lose my shit on them, but had promised myself I would not lose myself, no more monster mommy moments. So I locked myself in the bathroom like every good parent does. Locked myself in the bathroom and I started to tap. Now, at this time, I was an EFT practitioner. And so I started to practice how I knew, saying the things that I knew how to say, calmly saying them, saying things like, I'm feeling so much anger inside me, releasing this anger, releasing this anger. And then something weird happened. And I really did lose my shit. I said the craziest things, all sorts of things about my kids, things about myself, all sorts of things just started pouring out of my body. And it was even funnier because I was whispering them because my kids were like on the other side of the door. I'm like, but I was still expressing them while using the tapping. And after about a minute, I was like, wow, I feel completely different. What the hell happened? Like completely different. And I walked out and my kids were calm. Everything had changed. And at this point, you guys, I had been doing a lot of different techniques. I had been up and down, you name it, this chick's tried it. Acupuncture, meditation, EFT, TFT. I'm certified in freaking half of them. You know, advanced meditation, yoga, breath, all sorts of stuff, tons. And I kept feeling like I was settling. I kept feeling like these things were telling me they were healing me when really I was coping at the end of the day because I would feel better for a moment, but it would show back up. And that's what was driving me nuts about everything else. I was like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. Like, you know, I have all this stuff I'm trying to work through, but like it still keeps showing up. I'm still annoyed. I might feel better after I breathe, but then when I'm thrown right back in it, I'm annoyed again. And so I wanted something different. And this was when it happened for me. This was the first time I was like, whoa, that was different. So what can it do for you, for your life? It can literally change every part of it. It can change your relationships. It can change your stories with money. It can change your health. It can change all of it. And faster than anything else we've ever used or seen. Do you have something to say?
I often say the biggest issue with stress, anxiety, overwhelm, any modality in the mental health space, the biggest misconception we have, or the biggest fallacy that we have, is that we're sold coping mechanisms as healing. We think that the things that we're doing are actually making us better, but they're just bringing us down temporarily. Yep. And that, the definition goes, or the saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That is what I am personally seeing. And I think if you guys start paying attention, you'll also start seeing it when you look at all of these modalities that are available to you. They're told that that's going to help you reduce stress and anxiety. But what you really want is to not be stressed, to not have anxiety, to go on vacation and not be like a battle axe, getting ready for it, not be high strung, and you want to be present for the entire time. And you just want to enjoy life.
You want to freaking live.
You want to live. You don't want to be skydiving to experience life. You just want to get out the door.
Yes.
And not it be a fucking struggle.
Like, right? Can you imagine, guys, if when you woke up in the morning, like you were like excited about your day? You were like excited, you had energy, you moved through it, you laughed, you saw people, and even the people that annoyed you, you were like, oh yeah, that dude annoys me. But like, you didn't mind. Even
your day wasn't derailed.
Yes. Had a meltdown. You were like, whoa, rough day for them. And you just like moved through it. And then you know what? When you had a moment, when you did get overstimulated, it wasn't throwing you off. You're like, whoop, I know what to do with this. Yeah, boy. Because you had this technique literally at the tip of your fingers. You don't have to wait for a therapist. You don't have to wait for anybody else. You don't have to book appointments. You don't have to go take 3 hours to go have a spa day. It's literally right there to bring you back to balance and back to happy. Steps of the rapid relief technique. It's so easy. You guys are going to laugh. Notice a trigger, a pattern, or something that invokes a feeling or an emotion. So let's say you're driving down the street and this dude just comes out of nowhere. He cuts you off and you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? And let's say that this emotion isn't even a big emotion. It's just one of those kind of like judgy things, like, oh, that dude, oh my God. Notice it. Do not ignore or judge said feeling or emotion. Step 2 might be the hardest step. Sounds easy, but in practice can be the hardest step when we are professional emotional stuffers. Right? I'll raise my hand, recovering emotional stuffer right here. Melissa will raise her hand. And you know what, guys? Sometimes it is appropriate to ignore said feeling or emotions. Sometimes you are having a luncheon for 40 people at your house and something happens and you're like, I got to pull it together, get through this. But here's the thing. You deal with it later. You learn to deal with it later. I literally have this little book here. I keep it here for when I do presentations. I used to write down my things. Like I kept it in my purse and I would literally write down things when it happened. I'd be like, okay, let's write that down. And then I would go back to it later. Then we use the event to get to the core emotion that is behind this. Because often that man who cut you off on the highway, you're not really mad at him. You actually don't even care about him. And when you use this technique, you're going to find all of a sudden there's a core belief around there. People they don't see me. People don't see me. They just walk all over me. Everybody just walks all over. Nobody cares about me. And we start to get to the deeper layer. And then all of a sudden you have this memory of being a little kid and forgetting to be picked up at school. And all of a sudden you made a core belief of, oh, everybody forgets about me. And you know what? Maybe your mom was 10 minutes late. Maybe it actually wasn't a big stressor, but to you, it was a big stressor in that moment. It was a lot of stimuli. I remember being really little, guys, when I got lost on the boardwalk of Ocean City, Maryland. I was maybe like 7 on the boardwalk. I don't know if you've ever been to Ocean City, Maryland. Big boardwalk, lots of people. I got lost for hours. Like family kept going. There was a lot of us. all things happened. And then they couldn't find me. These ladies, these old ladies that didn't even speak English found me, and they were like trying to comfort me. Eventually my parents found me, they get back. I'm all in tears. I was like in shock. I literally remember my parents eventually being like, that's enough. Stop crying. You're safe now. You're fine. Stop. Oh, okay. And so now not only am I traumatized and my body's trying to get back to balance, but I'm not able to, but now I'm also laying shame onto my reaction and my body's own unique expression and ability to bring myself back to balance. So now not only do I have extra stress stuck in my body and unprocessed emotions in my body, but now I have a lovely thing I like to call shame added in there on top of it. Oh, I didn't handle that right. Oh, I didn't do that right. Okay, don't do that again. These little things that happen in our life help us get back to those core. And you know what's funny? I probably only needed to cry, guys, for like 15 more minutes. Maybe half hour tops. So when you go back to these things, guys, it's not scary, because now instead of spending hours upon hours, day after day, getting mad in traffic, having these little things bother you for years at a time, you're going to spend freaking 15 minutes getting to the core, maybe an hour getting to the core. And then you know what? It's gone. Now you're driving and that guy cuts you off and you're like, all right, dude, I see you're having a rough day. And you just like go on with your life. It didn't even faze you. So once we notice this, we then use our voice, our movement, and tapping while expressing so that we can get this fully out of our bodies. And then we feel relief and we rewrite your new story, right? So for me, right, let's say on that boardwalk, I finally get this out. I feel relief. Okay. Now I rewrite my new story. I'm safe. I'm not forgotten. People love me. We write the new story of what we really want to be feeling. So why the rapid relief technique? So the tapping does two things for you. And I'm going to get to it, guys. Don't worry. It's not going to be one of those events where I'm like, tell you all about it. And now I'm like, okay, that's all for now. Adios. We're going to practice it. We're going to go through it. So it does two things. It actually calms. And so this is what EFT, the original form of tapping that I learned, does. It actually sends a signal to your amygdala, calming it down. Now it needs to do this because your body often will not let you express emotions if you are too stimulated. This goes back to the days when we used to be chased by tigers. If you are in fight or flight and too much fear, your body's like, we can't feel right now. You got to run. You often hear this talked about in the therapy, psychotherapy world as the reptilian brain type stuff, right? You hear this a lot. This kind of a thing, our reptilian brains, right? Our computer stops working and we feel all this stress. When really it's not a stressful event. It's just that our brains think a tiger's chasing us. Yeah, that's literally what happens. You are having unprocessed emotions from your ancestors around things that you legit could not process because we were not safe enough. Humanity's evolved quite a bit. When you go back 1,000 years, like it was terrifying. Go back even further, even more terrifying. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my, houses burning down all over the place. Like there was like legit, you guys, life-threatening things all the time, all over the place. And we were never able to process that out. Why? Because our purpose back then as humans was to survive, to procreate, and to produce. But you know what? We did that. We've survived. We've definitely procreated, maybe to a fault. And we have also produced, also maybe to a fault. Now we're like in constant production mode, like we can't stop. Achieve, goal, go. So now we are shifting as humans to wanting something different, right? How many people out there are like, I am sick of this fucking rat race of constantly having to just go, 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 produce, 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 achieve, achieve, achieve. Right? We want something different. But in order to get there, it's going to require something different. What got us here isn't taking us there, isn't taking us to the land of relaxation and abundance and equality and all these things we want. Those were not our goals before, but we achieved our last goals. So we are really on an evolutional jump right now. And so the first thing we got to do is we got to calm that amygdala down and tell that amygdala, hey, baby, you safe. It's okay to feel. There's actually not a tiger chasing us. It's our computer. You're okay. Now, don't get me wrong. There are still people in this world who are in very life-threatening situations and are not where we are. But I'm guessing most of you here watching this with us are not in immediately life-threatening situations, nor is your stress being caused by that. Some of you, maybe, I don't know. But either way, we got to calm ourselves down before we can start clearing. The other thing it does is it sends a vibrational signal through your body. And when it does this, it brings up that stuff. It brings up that extra 15 minutes that I needed to cry after being left on the boardwalk that nobody let me have, that I wrapped in shame and shoved down deep. It sends a nice little vibration so that as I'm saying these things, it goes, oh, this applies. Let's bring this up and get this out of our body. It allows you to get to the core, to that thing that's really causing all your irritability, all your annoyance in the world. It's always available. Like literally, it's like attached to you. It allows for emotions to pass quicker. Look, none of us want to spend 7 hours laying on the floor sobbing. None of us want to spend 3 hours in our closet screaming. It also gives you a sense of permission. So a lot of you may feel like, I don't know, like Melissa said, crying at Walmart. No, thank you. Not going there. Crying in general. Nope, don't do it. Getting angry. Not for me. This all of a sudden gives you some type of permission to be like, okay, fine. I'm tapping so I can do this. And it helps. And what it does is it removes the stagnant and stuck emotions and trauma from your body. It gets it out. For good. You can say things out loud or not. Either way, they're living inside of you. Guys, this stuff is inside of you. When you have that twinge reaction, that twinge judgment, that emotion that comes up about something, that thing you want to say, but then you say, oh no, I shouldn't say that. You can say it or not, but it's in there. Choose a better feeling thought doesn't exist. All that's doing is pushing away the one thought and trying to look towards another thought.
One of my favorite things that Sarah said to me very early on when I started doing this work is she said, when you take a deep breath, where do you think that emotion goes? And I was like, away. And we have to remember that emotions are, it's energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So when we have an emotional response or a visceral response, however we want to call it, when we have that emotion or an energetic transmission, so to speak, running through our body, and we
when we say
take a deep breath and hold our breath to try and let the anxiety pass through, or we literally like are literally stuffing it down into our digestive system, into our heart, into our stomach, into our back, it's not going anywhere. That energy is just moving somewhere else.
When you say things,
releasing,
when we say things like let it go,
release it.
When we say things like let it go, we think that's a brain thing. Oh, I'm going to let this go. No, letting go means you're letting the emotion go. You're letting the words go. They actually have to be expressed out of your body for that to happen. And again, you can look at our kids. Our kids are great at it. I watched my kids yesterday. My daughter came home. She was in a whole little tit with her brother. She finally just said, and she walks into her room. You hear her. I mean, she is yelling and crying. She even screamed at the top of her lungs. Screamed. She'd called her brother dumb before she went in there. Screams at the top of her lungs. I give her her moment. And you guys, my kids obviously know how to do this. This is what I, do. She walks out 10 minutes later. I say, do you feel better? She goes, I do. I give her a hug. She walks right over to her brother and says, Max, I'm so sorry for calling you dumb. I let my emotions get ahead of my brain. This is a 7-year-old, mind you. And my son's like, it's okay. It happens. She knew that it was going to be inside her, whether she chose to get it out or just push it down. And she chose to get it out, and she felt way better because of it. She learned from that experience. I asked her, like, what got you upset? What did you learn? Well, I really it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So what does expressing look like? Because like I said, a lot of times people are like, well, what do you mean expressing? Like thinking about it in my head. Oh, hold on, go back. What does expressing look like? Let's start over. Okay, I'm just going to hit it once this time. Thinking is not feeling. You can play out those scenarios in your head. And I'll tell you this, guys, you often know you have repressed or suppressed emotions around things because you keep playing the scenarios out in your head. And you wonder, like, God, why my monkey mind? Why does my monkey mind keep on going? Why can't I sleep at night? I keep overplaying these things happening in my life. That's because you actually need to feel the emotions around them. You're just trying to logic and rationalize your way out of it. Emotions are not rational or logical. They often do not even make sense, as I say down there. People ask me all the time, I feel like this happened, but like, maybe I'm just making this up in my head. Maybe that's not really how it happened. And I say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to make sense. If it's coming up for you like that, don't take it out on that person, but go get it out. Have you had those moments too, where you've like blown up on someone, or have you said a whole bunch of stuff, and then after you've gotten it out and felt better, you're all like, oh, not sure that was fully warranted. Yikes, had a moment. Because it didn't actually make sense at all. It was you, a human, having a very personal response to stimuli that you were meant to learn and evolve from. And so you need to just whoop, whoop, check yourself out, pretend like that person was sitting in front of you, blow up while using the tapping, get to the core of it, and then you feel better. Emotion, energy in motion. Not stuck in your brain, going in a loop. Energy in motion. What are some examples? Saying what you want to say. What is wrong with you? You can't speak to me like that. Crying. Yelling. Ah! Hitting something. Throwing your body around like a little kid and flailing. Screaming at the top of your lungs. Coughing. All sorts of things can happen when you finally start to express. So you're telling me there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance you really might be able to get rid of this stress. Oh, yeah. So how do we do it exactly? Dun, 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 the moment we've all been waiting for. The simple steps. Tap on the points with moderate pressure. Say things that are bothering you and say it like you mean it. Allow the emotions to come up out of you and continue repeating until you notice emotion is gone. So there are our points on our lovely human up there. I'm going to do it with you. Let's do a quick run through like this. Moderate pressure. Moderate pressure. Try it, guys. You might like it. Let's just get this down. Let's practice. Come on. Think of something bothering you, literally. God, guys, it was a full moon. I processed a lot of emotions in the last 2 days. I'm trying to think of something that's bothering me now.
I'm going to be on mute over here.
So here, I'll do one. I did this on our weekly wake up today, which our weekly wake ups are free event we do every week inside our app, where we do this together. And we actually tap today on people that have wronged us, which I guarantee you every single person on here can think of somebody who's wronged them. And we just started tapping and we just started saying what we wanted to say to that person. Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? I didn't do anything to you. I was a good person. I was a good person that did good by you. And you screwed me. Like, why? Get over yourself. And I'll even tell you guys that day with my kid, when my kids are bothering me, when I discovered this, like it got real intense real fast. My words were something like, I like looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I hate you. You are the worst mother in the world. Looking at your face makes my skin crawl. You are so bad. We'd be better off if you weren't here. Your kids would be better off if you weren't here. Like there was really some deep-seated stuff about myself. And we all have that. You want to talk about self-love, guys? You don't need a pedicure. You don't need a massage. You need to get all the nasty, deep inside stuff about yourself that's keeping you from the self-love so that you can receive the support. You can receive the money you want. You can receive and be seen and heard. You know why you can't get all the things you want in life right now? Because you don't think you're worthy or deserving or enough to get them. And it's all that real deep underlying core chatter that's in there that needs to come out. And it does not come out until we put voice and words and energy to it. It stays in there forever and runs your life.
So I want to put specific attention to the slide that said you can say it out loud or not, it lives in you. If anybody heard some of the words that Sarah said about her kids or about herself as a mother, I wish you were never born. I hate you. I've personally have had some pretty, with my kids, they were the hardest ones to tap on, but oh my God, the things that came out, I didn't want you. I didn't want this. I didn't sign up for this.
And your kids can feel that, you guys.
You're ruining my life. I would bully my kids. And again, let's just make sure it's very clear. This is a private experience. For me, I love my car. I go into my car. It's my cone of silence. I sometimes take a drive, just like boop, boop, right around the corner, just so I didn't feel like I was at home. And I would just be like, shut up. If I have to hear one more word out of you, and I would just lose it. I would lose it. And then I would feel light.
And good. I could go, you feel the relief.
You feel relief, hence the name. And then I could show up for my kids the way they needed me to. Instead of me trying to like huff and puff and stuff my emotions down so I can deal with their meltdowns and just like, Jesus fucking Christ, is it bedtime yet? Instead of having that energy, I could be there for them. I could get on the floor and hug them and be the support that I never got. And guys, if you're honest with yourself, most of you probably, the thought of having somebody just like wrap you up as a little Judy, a little Roxy, a little David, of being enough and being loved and just being held, that likely will bring
at your worst, by the way.
At your worst.
At your worst. Not like, oh, good work, David, you had a great day. But like you're a snot-filled kid who just told everybody he hated everybody and you're the worst in the world. And someone comes up and just scoops you up and holds you and says, I got you, baby, just cry.
I got you. That will have an emotional reaction in you because most of us did not experience love this way. This is an example of unconditional love, because as a parent, and if you don't have kids, it shows up in how you have a partner, how you have relationships, how you go to work. You become an example of a fully evolved human. And if you're hearing this and you're like, your throat gets tight, your heart starts beating, you're kind of sweating, you're uncomfortable, you want to leave, you're like, too healy feely for me. Oh, there's work.
Yeah, it's because your body needs it. Your body needs it. And then, guys, after you get it out, you actually sit back and realize, wow, I actually never felt that way about my kids. Like, all the stuff with my kids goes back to me being a kid. Nobody ever did this for me. It's all that kind of stuff. And so it's easy. I mean, this is how easy it is, guys. You come up with something in your life, you notice there's a trigger, and you just start tapping through the points, just like this, with moderate pressure, really saying the things. And sometimes you might get going so much you don't even need to tap. You just need to express, and that's okay too. The tapping's here to help clean out the stuff that needs to be cleaned out that's deeper. So get curious and use the little things. This is where we have to start asking ourselves, wait, why am I having this reaction? We don't often ask ourselves this. We go through life having reactions to all sorts of things, never saying, wait a second, why am I having this reaction? Because really, guys, we shouldn't be having all these emotions throughout the day. We should be feeling pretty flowy, good, happy, relaxed as we move through the world. I move through the world very relaxed, very happy, not having much reaction to stuff. And when I do, I get curious. Oh, what's there? What's inside of me that's blocking me from having my best life? Because that's what this is showing you. Oh, you want more money in your life? You want more people to pay attention to you? You want more ease? You want less work? You want all these things to happen for you? We all have dreams. We all have things we want. They're not coming to you until you do this deep work inside of you and get these things out. And your body's tapping you on the shoulder to tell you. You tell your body, I want us to be healthy. Your body's like, ooh, yes, so do I. I want to do that too. Ooh, body, I don't want to work so much. Your body's like, ooh, yeah, me too. Let's do it. And the body's like, okay. So there's a slight issue. You have this nervous system wiring that like says you actually don't like money, and money's bad, and money messes everything up. And like, you learn that from your mom. And you also have this other thing that says like, you get the most attention when your body's sick and you actually get to relax. And then you also have this other thing. And so I'm just going to throw up some filters for you. And you're going to start seeing the world and you're going to be a little triggered. But don't worry, beautiful human. I'm just triggering you so that you can see all the things and start removing all of these emotions so we can get what we want. Your body's like, okay, cool. You on board? And you're like, what? What are you talking about? I thought we just were going to breathe. No, kids. The days of deep breath and coping mechanisms are over. Get curious and use those little things that are showing up in your life. Because if you use the little things, guys, the big old rug out from under your feet, universal slaps don't ever happen. Eventually, your body's going to get annoyed with you and be like, all right, this person just ain't seeing this. And then you're going to start seeing things all over the place that are real big so that you finally start to process some of this out. So applying all of this to life, learning something new takes a moment. What you have learned here applies to all things. It literally applies to parenting, work, relationships, health, money. You name it, it applies. You can change all aspects of your life. And like Melissa loves to say, often you pull out one from one and it pulls out it all from the others. So you don't feel worthy when it comes to parenting. I feel like a bad mom. I'm such a bad mom. I'm such a bad mom. Well, interestingly enough, that goes to the core of I'm never enough. I'm never enough. I will never be enough. You're tapping on that. I'm never going to be enough. You're crying. You're getting it out of your body. All of a sudden, that issue you had with your spouse about never feeling enough also goes away. That issue around feeling like you never have enough money all of a sudden starts to go away. And you're like, well, that's cool. So there's a real ripple effect, and it can be used on anything. Parenting, your kids are driving you crazy. Use it. You're at work and the guy pulls out this reminds me of when I was first working, pulls out toenail clippers and starts clipping his toes. And you're like, I'm going to vomit. Start using it. How gross are you? What's wrong? You know what's going to be at the core of that? Not this guy clipping his toes, but probably how gross and disrespectful for you are you? Don't you, it'll be bigger core things. Relationship examples. I remember one time my husband said something to me. I walked into a room and he says something along the lines of, I said, hey, I started talking to him. He goes, hey, I'm watching this. And you guys, I got so mad. I wanted to say to him, do not talk to me like that. I am not to be spoken to like that, because I wasn't. Don't talk to me like that. It's disrespectful. But I didn't say that because I knew if I would have gone with my emotions, he would have come back with his emotions. And remember, guys, emotions are not rational or logical. Then we're all in this thing, and he's seeing it one way, I'm seeing it one way, and we're in a cluster, right? So since I do this work, knew, and I took myself to my closet, got out my handy dandy fingers, and I said all the things I wanted to say. Do not disrespect me. Who do you think you're talking to? I'm your wife. Don't speak to me like that. And then I hit on the core. Don't dismiss me. And then the anger dissipated. And I was like, oh, don't dismiss me. Don't dismiss me. And I saw all these images of when I was little and I just wanted my parents, and they were like, go play, get out of here, get out of here. Seemingly harmless things that I had to sit there and tap on for 10 minutes. Oh, don't dismiss me. And you know what, guys? That was in the beginning of my business, and I was trying really hard to start getting more public and start putting myself out there. And I hated doing it. Do you know why? Because I always felt dismissed. And so I would procrastinate and I wouldn't do it. And I wouldn't show up because I was scared of being dismissed, because I was being run by that unprocessed core emotion of being dismissed. Once I cleared it, I was like, oh, I can do this. Let's go. Let's go. All because a relationship. Now, keep in mind, I did walk back out after I cleared that. And I said to my husband, hey, man, a little harsh earlier. And he was like, yeah, I was. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to speak to you like that. And I was like, thank you. Just like what happened with my kids yesterday. My daughter went in and dealt with her stuff. Then she came out and she's like, hey, man, sorry about calling you dumb. He was like, yeah, that wasn't cool. Thanks. It was easy. Health example. What's bothering you about your body? What things don't you like about your body? Go stand in front of a mirror naked and just start telling your body what you think of it. And you know what? A lot of people say, oh, that's negative self-talk. No, friends, it's not. Again, it's already inside of you. It's already inside of you. The negative self-talk is living inside of you, creating all sorts of crap for you already. That's why you have the stress. That's why you have the things not working out for you. People are always like, how do I know if I have stuck emotions? I'm like, well, is everything you want happening? Well, no. Do you have tons of energy and does your body feel 100% great all the time? No. Well, you got work to do, friends. Go for it. Money example. You're at the store, something freaks you out. Oh God, I'm going to have to pay $20 for this. Start tapping. Another bill comes. My money's always gone. Bills always eat it up. Use it. Use it to start getting to the core of these things. Because we weren't kidding when we said what you will learn here will kick your stress and change your life. So, what we are currently doing and why it's not working. We're going to start wrapping it up for you guys because I know we're getting to the 2-hour mark. Most of the techniques we're using to reduce stress in our lives actually aren't reducing anything. They're techniques used to suppress stress, our emotions, or to momentarily calm ourselves through distractions or dissociations. Mindset's a privilege. Ever wonder why there are those out there that can just change their mindset, but you can't? Ever wonder why the majority of those people are privileged white men? Well, because they have different set points than the most of the world. They weren't marginalized and oppressed by a lot of people, we were. So you have different set points. As women, you weren't even able to make money 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Or you were able to make it, but you weren't able to have it in a bank account. There were all these things. And so when we say just change your mindset, change your life, that works for people who have a certain level of set points. They sure can. But if you don't have that and you have other emotional stuff going on inside of you, you can do all the mindset work you want, and it's never going to connect with your belief system and your core system. We got to do the work down here so the mindset stuff will actually work. Practices like talk therapy, EMDR, and deep breathing are all centered around coping with stress and not actually getting to the core emotion that is causing stress. So EMDR actually disassociates. It disassociates your emotion from your thought. So it's just suppressing that in there. You may now think the thought, but not feel an emotion, but doesn't mean that emotion went anywhere.
That's also not normal. That's not biologically normal.
No, that's where you end up with PTSD down the road. And you start to see where people all of a sudden have these reactions with it and they don't know what's happening. Talking about emotions is not feeling them. Most of us believe we're feeling our emotions when actually we aren't. Hence the cycle of stress we continue to find ourselves in. A few things to remember. Most of the techniques we're using to reduce stress in our life actually aren't reducing anything. They are techniques used to either suppress stress or momentarily calm ourselves. The rapid relief technique is true healing and evolving. It is taking you through the emotions so it can be fully expressed and released. This is how life actually changes for you. This is how you stop constantly fighting yourself in life so much. This is how you start feeling better and it being easier. This is how you come back to you. The process is simple, guys, but it's not always easy to apply and keep doing it. But don't worry, we're experts on helping people eliminate stress, anxiety, and overwhelm from their bodies. And we know how to help you find your happy. So where do we go from here? I have basically fire hosed you with a ton of information. I have debunked a lot of common things. I have introduced a lot of new concepts. It's a lot. I get that. I get that. So we would like to invite you into our Happy Human membership if it is something that feels right for you. So I just talked about the technique, and you guys honestly can walk out of here and you can do it. You can go do it. We've given you the whole thing. But guys, it's always better with friends. It's always better with friends. And honestly, when you're processing emotions and you're processing this crap, it helps to have people. It helps to have people support you. It helps to have people to ask questions to. It helps, this world's a lot right now. It helps to have a place to land, a place to process out all the crap that's going on and have people have your back. And that's what we created the Happy Human membership for. I went through this process all on my own. I discovered it and then I started teaching it to other people. And I started thinking, what would I have wanted to have while I was going through this? And so the first thing in our membership is the foundation. And this is our key course that cleans out all the gunk and sets you up for success. So this is like your cheat codes, right?
I always say, if you go here and do this on your own, you'll be in a reaction healing cycle. You'll get triggered and you'll use the rapid relief technique. Hopefully trigger, rapid relief technique, trigger. The foundation teaches you how to heal all of your emotions outside of an emotional state. It is proactive healing. It is the easiest form of healing because you don't need to be teetering on the edge and have to have a level of self-control to be like, whoa, time out. It's a controlled environment. It's amazing. I'll let you continue, but I just had to.
It's amazing, but it cleans out all of that stuff. Like you don't have to wait for the thing to show up in your life. We know what's in there, guys. I know the core stuff that's rattling around in all these humans. We've worked with thousands upon thousands and thousands of humans. I know what's in there. And so we've put it all into a beautiful little course for you. All the beautiful tapping recordings so that you can just repeat after me and tap and get all your core stuff out. Beautiful workbooks so you can dive into that and have that self-awareness. Beautiful videos going deeper and explaining what it is. It is a 16 module, beautiful course that you get to go through at your leisure. It's not like check off the list and go through. There's supplements. It's so juicy and robust. There's a video, there's a workbook, and then there's a bunch of supplements to actually do the true healing and evolving with you. We hit on all sorts of stuff. The first 6 weeks are really about teaching you this method, like really helping you understand the rapid relief technique and how to use it in life. And then we start applying it to things like relationships, money, your body, all the different things. And then we spend some time after that really learning to connect to ourselves. Who are we? How do we replace now all this stuff we moved out? What do we do now? How do we create love and abundance and beauty in our life? So it's a really, really beautiful crafted out course. We also have other courses in there as well. We just highlight the foundation, but we have courses around parenting. We have courses for kids in there. We have things around money. We have things around all sorts of stuff. And we also do new live courses periodically throughout the year. So it's a really juicy, robust, beautiful space to continue just growing and evolving and getting the stress out of your life. We have our daily dose. So this is a live done in our app every morning where I go live or one of the team members goes live, and we just really anchor in to the things we want to create. Like, for example, yesterday we did time is on our side. I have more time than I know what to do with it. And we just connect with ourselves. We kind of rewrite the story together. And that's always more powerful when we do it together. It's not just you on your YouTube doing it. It's live, us doing it together, creating this space and creating this energy. I personally think the membership is worth that alone. Just that space to just connect every day. I mean, this world's rough, guys. We got a lot going on. To have a space you go to every day when things just feel wonky, you can tap it out and then you can come in here and be like, this is my landing space. This is where I remember who I am. This is where I co-regulate. I re-regulate my nervous system. Remember how we talked about that? Those parents back there that maybe didn't give you the best nervous system. You hop in here with us and you start to remember the peace, the calm. You remember the things your nervous system needs. It's a re-regulating space. You also have support in there. Weekly Q&A sessions. Answer your questions. You got questions? We got answers. This is not a self-study. You also have a community. This is all the people that are in there doing this work. When things come up, they're there for you. We're there for you. Our team is there for you. And furthermore, what I love about this is that a lot of times we can't see what we can't see. You're sitting here going like, why the hell does this trigger me so much? You go drop it in the community, you're all blah, 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 blah. And like 5 people are like, oh, it's this. And you're like, oh, damn, it's this. And so the healing and the results are so much faster because you have the support. It's like when you do anything in life, right? When you have a community and like-minded people and support, it's just easier and faster and the results happen better. This is created to help you do the work much faster and much easier. And it's just easier. It's easier. It's better with friends. So the results are in, because maybe you want to know, does it actually work? Yes. This is after 6 weeks inside our membership, guys. 6 weeks, 60% of humans decrease in anxiety. 62% of humans decrease in stress. 62% increase in enjoyment. 52, improve relationship. 68, improve relationship with body. 78% of humans improve relationship with their children. You guys, this is after 6 weeks inside our membership. Think of how long stories had played in your head. Think of how long things you've been trying to solve this issue. 6 weeks. Well over half the people in here have had drastic results. But let me show you what happens after 6 months. Across the board, 100% of humans decrease of stress. Remember when we said stress less, live more, and we're like, we can do this? And this is across races, religions, socioeconomic backgrounds. This is not like, oh, hi, yeah, I live in this kind of bubble, so like I don't have that much stress. We literally have women in this program who are in the Middle East, who have stories you could not believe, that are in here in their bathrooms at freaking night on their phone while their freaking husbands sleep doing this freaking work. And they're getting a decrease of stress. And believe me, they got some stress going on in their life. 89, 89, 89, 89. Increase enjoyment, improve relationship with money, improve relationship with body, improve relationship with significant other. Almost 90% or better across the board after 6 months. We bring results. We bring freaking results. So when people are like, does it work for me? Yes, if you do the work, it works for you. A few People sharing, I finally feel alive in the most extraordinary way. The biggest shift that I have experienced in doing this work is my confidence level and my ability to just be me, shifting and owning who I am, loving who I am. This is human development, guys. This isn't, oh, I finally was able to tackle that task, which is going to be a short-lived thing for your stress, for your happiness, for all of it. The anxiety of lack of money, safety decreased. Also, stress decreased. Once upon a time, I never imagined that I'd be where I am right now. I feel like it's just the beginning of my dreams starting to come together. This I love because I healed myself of my chronic neck and back pains. Look at this. He went to specialists, MRIs, all of this. After learning RRT and moving through all the dark emotions experiences, my chronic pain began disappearing entirely. Magic, you guys. Okay, so let's talk the real deal here, because you're like, well, this sounds great. What are we talking here, Sarah? What are we talking? So Happy Human membership. Regular price is $9.97 for 12 months access. But we have an event price for you guys because we like you. And because I also know humans sit on their hands and they're like, oh, well, maybe I'll do it next month, when we all know you need this month. You need this today. Everyone does. Event pricing, save 50% off your membership. Get 12 months for $40 or $498.50 USD. Now, this is time sensitive. 50% off is available for those who join in the next 48 hours. Again, because I know what happens to people. You leave here and all of a sudden, my kid, my this, my work, my that, and we get forgotten. But you are here, guys, because you want a change in your life. You are here because I said I can teach you how to stress less and live more. And you can leave this and you can start doing the tappings on your own, but let's be real. You know what happens. You go off into life and I am forgotten. And I don't want this work to be forgotten. I don't want you to spend another day wondering how you get rid of the stress. I don't want this to be something you think about at night. Oh yeah, that girl, that tapping. Oh yeah, I need to try that. You know, the biggest thing we hear from people after they join the membership, what they say to us is, I wish I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have listened to you. I wish I would have believed what you said. Because I joined and holy moly, I've been doing this work for 2 years on my own, but oh my God, just 6 weeks in the membership, and I cannot believe the drastic changes in my life. We know what we're doing, guys. That's why we get the results that we do. We know what we're doing. We know how to decrease your stress and help you live a much, much better life. Our most asked cues, will this work for me? If you do the work, yes. What if it's too much? Then slow it down. This is at your pace, guys. This is one of the reasons we are offering the year, because as you could see, at 6 months, we get our best results at 6 months. And so we want to incentivize you to stay longer with us. And we also want to take the pressure off of like, I got to dive in and I got to do a module a night and wow. That's not what this is about. This is about you coming in and dedicating yourself to finding yourself, to feeling better. So if it gets too much for a moment, take a freaking break. Well, I always have these emotions. No, because you're going to get them out of your body and be done with them. So you may have a moment period of time where like, you got to clean some stuff out. And then it's gone. I remember working with Melissa and her being like, am I going to be like this forever? And I was like, no, you're going to be like this for like 2 more weeks and you'll be fine. And she's like, oh, good. And then she
literally said, put it all back, put all the emotions back. I'll ignore it. I can't do this. And she's like, yes, you can. And I was like, yes, I can. And then all of a sudden I woke up and I was like,
oh my God, I feel so much better.
It was amazing. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happens, guys, is that you need people, you need that accountability for when you're like, oh my God, this is too much. You're in this community with people and you come in and you say, this is too much. And they go, you can do this. I remember being where you are and now I'm here. And so it gives you that brain. It gives that brain that proof it needs. Oh, this is going to work. So that you keep going. Will I be different? Will my relationship change? Yeah, that's why you're here. Because you want change, because things aren't working, but it will change for the better for you. yes, things will change. But isn't that the point? I'm pretty sure you want them to change or you wouldn't be here. So there you guys go. The Happy Human membership, the foundation, the daily dose, support, community. We also have added, now we got to add this onto the slide, Melissa. We also added breath work. So we just got a bunch of the team certified in a somatic breath work. And this is a type of breath work used to get really repressed emotions out of your body, like the stuff you really stuff down deep, and it bypasses the brain. So sometimes the tapping will get you there and you know it's there, but like you can't fully get it out because it's just a little there and your brain's like, that's not safe. So now twice a month, we're doing live breathwork group sessions where now you can really, really process that out. And it is just, wow, the combination of the rapid relief technique with the breath work, with the foundation and the daily dose. Like, I mean, I can't wait to see what our results are looking like for this year after this. It's going to be really, really incredible.
And if you're somebody that's like, ooh, I'm feeling this, our next group breathwork session is actually on Saturday.
On Saturday.
So you can jump in and it really expedites the results. It just taps into those emotions, brings them up and out fast. So if you like it, like, just don't delay.
Don't delay. Like, really, just don't do it. Like, just get in here. So tips and tricks real quick before we wrap up. Tapping tips. How hard, how often, skip spots, sore spots, moderate pressure. How often? When you have an emotion. If you skip spots, that's okay. But notice if you're skipping a spot all the time, it probably means there's a bunch of emotions there you're trying to ignore. Sore spots, that means you have a lot of emotions in that meridian. Keep tapping. Which side? I tap on my right side. Boop, 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 boop. But you can tap on both or your left. Do what feels right to you. Physical reactions. Sometimes you can yawn, burp, feel kind of nauseous and dry heave. This is just your body releasing energy. Allow it to be expressed. Will it last forever? No, friends. It will get better and better and better. What will my family think? They might think you're a little bit weird, but when you start being less stressed and being kinder and nicer, they're probably going to thank you for doing this work. What if I can't get to the emotion? Well, come join us in the membership and we'll help you get there. Remember, pay attention to the little things, you guys. Use your triggers and judgments. Emotions are not logical or rational. And don't forget, you're amazing. You are already more than enough. You don't need to be fixed, but I totally get it if you're ready to feel better. And you don't have to do this alone. We try so hard to doing this alone, but there's something so powerful in healing together. Remember, your nervous system was created because of others. And so it's often so important for us in our healing journey and our evolution journey to begin to be around people who we can re-regulate to as we start to pull this stuff out.
Lots of us also have a lot of healing to do around being alone and being left like they're the only person that they can count on. Nobody understands me. And so to try and heal those things alone, you're never putting your human in a situation to actually heal it, to be vulnerable, to allow people to support you. So many of us, we got our boundaries. I will not let that person hurt me. I won't let them in. Nope. Non-starter. We have so much of this up as our defense mechanism, and it's preventing us from creating connection, from finding true happiness. And so literally being in a community of people is the first step in starting to, even though it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm doing anything, being in a community of people to support you, that you can trust fall back into virtually. And they're like, I got you. You're okay. This is normal. There is good on the other side of this.
It changes.
I'm proud of you. You did the exact right thing.
Hearing the things you haven't heard so you can start changing the way you see and do life. So what's next? Obviously, join us in the Happy Human membership. You're going to be getting an email from us after this event that's going to have more information about the membership, along with an amazing workbook. So keep a lookout for that. The workbook is really powerful and really great to kind of kickstart you in this process. Go ahead and download our app. We have a beautiful Hey You Human app. We try to stay off the regular social media and create our own safe space. Go on there. Even if you don't join our membership, we have a beautiful free community. You can introduce yourself, post questions in there, and keep the conversation going. You can always reach out to us at support@heyyouhuman.com if you have a question. All right. I think that's all we have for you. Like I said, make sure you're checking your emails. If you're not getting emails from us, go check your spam. And if you're still not getting them, feel free to email us at support@heyyouhuman.com and we'll make sure you get the workbook. You can actually, on the replay, if you're watching the replay, there's an area you can click to get that down below to get that workbook. So we hope to see you guys on the other side or in our free community. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us. We so appreciate your time. We hope you take this out into your life and continue to do this work with us in our membership, and we'll see you around. Bye.